Okay, we're going to look at Blue Sort 16 today. Oops, just knocked my board. Check it isn't. No, that's fine. Okay. Right, so we are continuing on with our adding ION, but it gets a little bit more interesting this week. So last couple of weeks we've just been adding ION, and we've been adding IAN. So hopefully you can remember that ION turns words into the result of doing the verb, and IAN turns words into the special person that does that thing. Okay, so we're going to be zoning in on ION today, because there's actually some interesting things that happen with ION. So far in your word sorts, we've been adding ION to words that don't need to be changed. We just take the base word, add ION, and that's our final word, so easy. So we're going to be looking at a couple of different patterns that happen when we add ION. So I'm going to give you some example words and see if you can actually find out. So there's going to be two different types of words we're going to be looking at. So I'm going to give you 4 words in a list. Okay, and we're going to add ION, and we're going to see, you may know just because you've used these words before. So operate, invade. So these are 4 of your list words this week. We've got expand, and let's do decorate. Okay, so we've got 2 words that end in TE and 2 words that end in D or DE. We'll call those the same thing because we do the same thing, so we don't need to distinguish between the E and the no D. Okay, so let's turn that into, we want to add ION. So operation. Now, as per the words you have been looking at, we would just go operate ION. You can straight away see that's wrong. We don't have 3 vowels next to each other very often, add all in words. Usually it looks really weird. So hopefully you can see that in this case we actually need to drop the E, as we often do when we're adding vowel endings. Okay, so in this case we dropped the E, so that is now spelt correctly. So we added ION and we needed to drop the E. Let's see what happens here. Okay, we want to add the ION, so we go invade, invasion. No, that doesn't look right. Oh, that's right, we've got to drop the E. Let's see if that's right. Invaden. That doesn't look right either, and it doesn't sound right. So invade goes to invasion. We need that zhun sound. It's not a shun, it's a zhun. So what we actually do is we drop the D and the E, and we add S-I-O-N, invasion. That is now spelled correctly. So hopefully you can recognize that word. Again, it's a tricky word, invasion, but if you think about the base word invade, you go, oh, that's right, you drop the DE and add S-I-O-N. It's going to start to really come through in your spelling, and your spelling will improve as you learn these more complex spelling patterns and realize, not actually that complex. Okay, let's add ION. So remember what we did with the D. Doesn't matter if it's a DE or just a D. We drop it and add S-I-O-N. So we go expand, we drop the D, and then we write S-I-O-N. Expansion. Great. So expand goes to expansion. Okay, and remember there was 2 different patterns. So this is pattern 1, that's pattern 2, that's pattern 2, and this goes back to pattern 1. So can you remember what we did? We said operate goes to operation. So we could have decorate and leave the E and add ION. Remember, looks really bad. Definitely not correctly spelt word. We have to drop the E. And now that is spelled correctly. Decoration. Tick. Okay, so using those 4 words, I've taught you the 2. There's 1, we drop the E and add ION. Second pattern is we drop the D or DE and add SION. Okay, so I'm going to write that out now in an easy to take note form for you. And you can write that in your notes. Okay. So, when adding ION to words that end in TE, you must drop the E and add ION. E.g., what did we do? Did we do operate? Yeah, we did. Operate. Oh, goodness me, it's a sort of badly written word, isn't it? All the letters are the wrong size. Should have a 5 on the end of my pen. There we go. Operate goes to operation. Okay, second note. So when adding ION to words that end in TE, you must drop the E and add ION. Operate, so we drop the E and we add ION. Okay, when adding ION to words that end in D or DE, you must drop the D, DE, and add SION. E.g., invade turns into invasion. Okay, so there we go. So when adding ION to words that end in TE, you must drop the E and add ION. Example, operate to operation. When adding ION to words that end in D or DE, you must drop the D or DE and then add SION. Okay, so that is actually what you need to know to do this whole word sort. It's really just those 2 rules. So what I'm going to do is give you the headings. Whoops. Okay, so we've got base words that end in TE. And then we're going to add ION to them. And then we've got base words D or DE. And then we're going to add ION. Actually, sorry, we have to add SION. Okay, so what I'm going to get you to do is actually pause the video now. I want you to get out your word sort. So it's word sort 16. So it looks like this. Okay, that's what your word sort looks like. And I want you to pick out all the words that end in TE and put them there. So I'm going to start you off. For example, we would have operate. And you go through, oh, another one, etc., etc. And you'll have a list of your TE words. And then I want you to do the same for D or DE. So we go along, oh, yep, explode. Go along, any words words with D, oh, yep, DE, oh, D, etc., etc. So I want you to fill in those two columns. So I want you to pause the video now and fill those in using your word sort sheet. And then you can start the video back up again and check that you've got all the right words. Okay, so I'll see you in a minute. Okay, so you're back. I'm going to fill in and you can check that you got them all. Decorate. Illustrate and imitate. Okay, let's do the D ones now. So I've got explode, we've got invade, we've got expand, we've got comprehend, we've got allude. Do you know what allude means? It means you're sort of referring to something without specifically saying it. So I might say something like, there might be a nice treat after dinner, and then someone might say, oh, Mum's alluding to the fact that we've got something yummy after dinner. It's sort of like you're sort of just suggesting it. You're not actually really specifically saying it. Erode, that's when soil washes away, or something sort of breaks down and washes away. Conclude, that's when you're trying to come up with what you think something means. And okay, so they are all our base words. So we've got 5 base TE words and we've got 7 base D/DE words. Okay, so let's apply our rule. So do you remember what the 2 rules are? There's a rule that applies to these words and there's a rule that applies to these words. So do you remember? Hopefully you remember that with these words, we drop the E when we add ION. So let's do that. So we will have operation, creation, decoration, illustration, imitation. Okay, so as I've been mentioning in the last couple of weeks as well, you've got words now that are really complicated words. Illustration, decoration, operation, imitation. They're words that you might forgive a Year 5 student for getting wrong. Okay, but if you understand this rule, you can actually see it's pretty simple, because most of you probably know how to spell illustrate and decorate. These are the more straightforward words. So once you understand the rule, I just drop the E and add ION, suddenly the word isn't that tricky to spell, except it is quite a complicated word, and it's brilliant if you can spell words like illustration correctly, imitation, decoration, and you can see actually how straightforward it is. Okay, let's go over to our second rule. So do we remember what we do with words that finish with DE or D? Do we remember? What do we do with these words? That D a bit bigger, looks a bit short. Hopefully you remember that we actually have to drop the DE or the D completely off the word. So in this case I would write explode, and before I write the DE I then insert SION. Invasion, expansion. So see how I have dropped the DE and then added SION, dropped the DE, dropped just the D, added SION. Okay, I'm a bit worried that is going to be in that glary spot. Yeah, I might just tuck comprehension under here. Okay, so we've got comprehend, and I stop at the D and I write SION. Okay, allude, but we don't do the DE and we write SION. So illusion is someone who's sort of referring to something. It's not an illusion, which is spelt like this. Illusion, that's like a sort of a fake thing where you're creating an illusion that something exists. This is an allusion, which is like when you refer to something that's happened but you're not being specific about it. Well, they kind of are a little bit related. Okay, erode, when your soil breaks down. Erode, I drop the D and the E and I write shin. Erosion. So if someone asks you to write the word soil erosion and you might think, oh, I don't know how to spell erosion. It's a weird sounding word. It's got this zhin in it, like could have a Z in it for all I know. Well, actually you think, oh, hang on, it's to do with erode. I know how to spell erode. That's a fairly straightforward word. I know the rule. Drop the DE, add the SION, done. You've just spelt a tricky word. Conclude. Conclude, drop the DE, and I write SION. Conclusion. Hopefully you know how to spell that word, but now it makes sense why it's spelled that way. Okay, so have fun with these words. Again, you're learning 2 rules and you're learning how to spell these base words if you don't already know. And then it's just a case of applying the rules. And you should get all these words correct every time you use them in your writing now. Okay, happy practicing. Bye.